What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community absolutely losing their minds over the pre-sale price on Fiendsmith Engraver. And the sales rate is actually eyebrow-raising and concerning because that means a lot of people are going into the FOMO / okay, I'm gonna bend over, take the slap on the wrist, a big dollar slap by the way, and get ready for the regional season since there's no off-season. I do think it will come down a little bit from here, but I don't think it's going back down under triple digit like I initially thought it would be. A $72 to $80 card on release and then kind of go up towards triple digit, dodge some ban lists, and then create one of the most expensive metagames ever headed to next WCQ season. I don't think Konami can hit this too much if they do want to resell it at some point. They've mentioned the late August ban list, but check out this. So many sales already this early, above $140 on TCG Player. So many at 106, and all of those have sold out. And there is actually loads more sales on this. So with pre-sales, we usually don't see this kind of movement, let alone the dollar prices. I don't think this is like Crossout Designator where it will fall flat on its face, but I don't think it'll stick the landing for now at 145 to 150. I think there will be slight ban list fears, although I think it should chug through that, but speculating with ban list is always something to never necessarily go against Konami with. I don't think they would Pepe 2.0, but you never do know with them, right? It's still speculating. All you can do is educated guess at best what they'll do. But I also do think it'll continue to gain traction as the top card of the set versus the Molcharmy, which is now outshined by the new Molcharmy. And so this will probably go down relative to that eventually being released and that getting more traction, so that this will magnetize more to the top of the box prices. And the boxes have gone up quite a bit in the pre-sale range. Hopefully they become a little more accessible, but I'm seeing the cases and boxes move en masse in Facebook groups at pretty high prices. When it comes to the rest of the set, maybe this will help magnetize and make that a bit cheaper when the set does release, as people chase after pretty much this card and the Molcharmy to some degree, which again will populate it even more, and then it's getting outshined. So all of that value probably magnetizing to this card and archetype / engine within Yu-Gi-Oh! I do want to say though, for overhyped history, remember the Red Lotus King buyout? This quarter century secret rare went up to 75. Some people bought into it, and look at that. It's already back to $30 sales just a couple days later. And I saw people cheering that they had this. They made so much money. The only people who made anything are the ones who capitalized in this super short window overall before it fell back on its face. And I guess as well the secret rare holders are still doing okay for themselves, but it's coming back down to earth too. So don't let anyone fool you. There's plenty of overhypeness even post-release with cards. I just feel like there's actually a lot of proof that this is going to be the deck. Now over on Card Market, because I do like to bring up comparisons, but also their market sometimes lags behind and then follows ours, it's mostly actually downward motion versus their earliest pre-sales. A lot are available, even English copies, right? 90 euros and 93. So it's not like total doom and gloom. It's more towards a realistic hype price on a release of a top card where we're just going absolutely bonkers here in the US. So again, it's not a everywhere thing necessarily even, and it will be interesting to see. And this is where a lot of the oh man, only one secret per box stuff was happening in the early like rumor mill / reveals by YouTubers. I find it interesting that it's actually, you know, on that little downward slope, even though it is little. I want to talk about a couple of things with our Mimic deck because they're selling out on pre-sales actually, which is unusual for a lower archetype. Usually at the end of pre-sales, Gamer's Choice still has stuff like this. So we're getting buyouts around the deck as well, mostly in the Earth category. The Verns are going, and oh yeah, never got a reprint besides the Unlimited Pote. $8 plus, and only first edition stocked right now on Flourishing Hills. USA, the not Link card, the Starlight, has really gone up. I think it's released in ultra rare, is still readily available and cheap under 50 cents, but this Starlight has now gone up towards, $26, $27. Not the craziest thing for a Charmer card, and it's still relatively fallen off versus, say, 4 or 5 months ago, and especially versus a year ago, but notable that people are actually buying into the highest rarity to go and max out their deck. I also pulled up Ausa to look at her over here. Velma fell off. I do believe this is in the, oh my gosh, things escaped the factory Starlights, so makes a bit of sense. People have a lot less faith in her, but the water one, the wind one, they're all doing pretty well. The dark one a little under what I thought, but no waifu tax there. The rest are hanging in at 200 plus. Man, Velma has really fallen off, though. Like, look at this. In 1 year, from $200 to $62. People are scared they're going to end up 25th somewhere, and we do have Bonanza as the end to see if that will happen. Or, also the Megatons. People are pretty shocked they haven't actually gone back into the well on these. I really hope they actually don't, and leave a couple of special things behind. Memento Bone Party! This is one of the only decks you can probably competitively play to try to counter everything going on that doesn't need Fiendsmith. I feel like Value Smashers is the real name for the set because it's continuing to just go up, but Bone Party's sitting pretty at 27, and also Andwich now at an all-time high, $24 lowest listings, quickly towards 30, actual sales at 30 as well, and yeah, just extremely low listings. M7, I actually have notes for a lot of these meta cards, has both Snake Eyes and Fiendsmith implications. The DT version has gone up like crazy, but luckily you have tons of cheap options if you just want access to the card. The secret rare itself has also been going up a little bit, notably, and has really spiked recently. So be aware, these are in like buyout mode / going up for people to make their meta decks prettier. Heck, even the Unlim is pushing $10 on the secret. Speaking of pretty versions, Unchained Soul Lord of Yama is played in multiple decks. It's got a little spike coming back if you look at the 3-month graph, but is actually down towards recent. But the quarter century secret rare version is towards maximum capacity, near $150+ for the lowest listings. This is being played for Ubel, but also in Memento for Griffin Lock, and we had brought up how we were seeing similar combo lines for certain fields with Memento and Ubel. It is interesting, and Ubel is one of those other decks you can obviously be trying to play. The Angel statue, but it wants to play Fiendsmith, is the asterisk there. It does want to end up interacting with that engine, unlike Memento. Angel statue here is interesting because the super rare is getting bought out. You do have an easy access common thanks to the Megatons nobody wants to touch, yet still a lot of them got busted at some point. This is for Whitewoods / the Rabbit that Link came out, and I'm trying to blank on the TCG name, but yeah, be aware that basically this becoming searchable, usable, and it's always been kinda good. It's up towards $2 and then quickly $3 for this card. Crimson Dragon is also being played for Whitewoods and has really spiked up here. I want to shout out the Discord, by the way, for keeping me up with the upcoming metagame. I've mostly been into Master Duel, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Sleep, and I've been watching some modern games here and there on Dueling Book, and it's just, I don't know, it falls flat as a viewer even for me right now in the current metagame. Like, it's like, yeah, okay, do this, do that. I just don't feel that connection to watching the game even right now. I mainly just play Master Duel every day, do my dailies, and we're going to talk about something cool I ran into after this card. But with Crimson Dragon, it's spiking up for Whitewoods, and I do find some of the new decks and interactions okay, but it's just not as fun to watch, I feel like. I'm SETI is down way big, and deservedly so. But why I'm bringing this card up, in Master Duel, I just had one of the most fun games I've ever had. I was playing Kashtira, and I played against the Horus Egyptian God deck that has been pretty popularized over there, where you're able to mix and mash the two decks together and actually play relatively well. So I wanted to go over the fact that, well, this is probably up for Megaton reprints. And whenever we know that Master Duel people like to make those physical decks, like how we saw the buyouts on Blue Eyes Jet Dragon when Master Duel was swinging, I do feel like some people will make those casual decks in real life for fun, because there's a ton of ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Outside of competitive, even if competitive has such a magnet to it. So I was looking at these cards, and actually, it looks like the spike for these happened a bit ago, but with a reprint of the Horus stuff and making it more viable to play physical, I could see these going back up again. Like you've seen multiple spikes on True Sun God. It's still extremely affordable. It's basically bulk, but it only has its one printing. So I would suggest picking up stuff like this now. Heck, this is a card that says add sphere mode to your hand, basically, right? Add the one Winged Dragon of Ra, or one card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, except the True Sun God. So this card's extremely interesting, and then does more lifting than that. They end up playing the Ra Immortal Phoenix. It's kind of cool. And then also Soul Crossing is just this crazy board wiper, and they take all your stuff and they put it out. This only has the structure deck reprintings, although, well, printings in the first place. They did re-wave the structure decks, so there are a ton of these out there, but it's basically treated as bulk right now. I think these are all fun things to pick up versus, say, yeah, the Gimmick Puppet stuff. I thought I had another tab, okay? It's been a long, hot day. It's triple digits in Texas. Gimmick Puppet stuff I touched on briefly in a previous Market Watch. To note, even the maximum gold Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder is like on full buyout and is $5+, and is starting to actually peek into those sales of people desperate enough to go for the card. So be aware. More Gimmick Puppet cards have gone up like crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on stuff like this. People will find alternate ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! A store owner actually messaged me saying, with the current metagame, almost a large chunk of my base, like a majority, has turned to Edison. Where can I get Edison like commons in bulk? And there's not a great answer for that. They were talking about how they know they're still cheap cards, but it's like people will look at other ways to play the game they love and enjoy during a stale or uber expensive format. And this is also a sign plenty of people are still playing the uber expensive format, but I know a lot of people are turned off of it. A lot of people are going away, and it does remind me of Dark Arm. There was a ton of griping. A ton of people did turn away from Yu-Gi-Oh! And there weren't as great of alternate formats at the time. They couldn't win versus Dark Arm's power and what it was offered, and there just weren't a ton of great options as people actually prepared for decks like Six Samurais. So I want to say that I do believe we will see maybe even similar to the '08 recession. If we do get one of the most expensive metagames of all time, a lot of money get magnetized away from the collector market for a bit too, which is already happening with Rarity Collection, and it could be interesting. This is all speculation though, not a financial advisor channel. I don't know the future. These are possibilities and educated guessing, and a lot of that could magnetize too towards past format play going up, or alternative format play slash messing around with my buddy getting that deck I wanted from Master Duel and going in. So I think stuff like this, really great time to pick it up. Rarity Collection just dropped this, and you can get pretty much any version of Sphere Mode for the cheapest it's ever been, and I think Konami likely won't reprint that anytime soon, and so you have this storm of being able to go for tons of different nice versions of this card for cheap, and it's the most realistic one that would end up going up if you're trying to stonk. But I feel like there's just so many really cool interactions with this deck. It's something I feel like I would play for fun, and if I feel magnetized towards a deck after playing against it once, I think other people physically will once reprints are there. This is to say, keep in mind, if you're vendor bro man or just a person trying to get cards for what they enjoy outside of a metagame, keep your mind more open to this sort of thing, because we were talking about Madolce, for example, and 2 years ago I said these are cards I always end up pulling out. Somebody brought this up in the Discord that they sold theirs when it went to $2 from one because they were tired of waiting. It could get reprinted anytime, you never know. But I said that like Magellan's at one, great pickup out of Dual Overload. Look at these now. It's crazy. Actually brought up specifically Ghost Trick 2, which did catch a lot of stray reprints, by the way, like Mary, etc. But you can see tons of these are just way better than bulk. There's fan favorite archetypes out there, there's penny stonks, and then there's actual, they're gonna stay in the penny stonk range, but still stonk if you know to pull them out. So not everyone's going to do it all. Not everyone's going to grind the commons. Not everyone's going to go through everything. My point is, for people crying about the top end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Saying there's not money in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's obviously tons of money in Yu-Gi-Oh! First off. But second off, like, at the lower end ranges, there's tons of stuff moving. And just because you can't predict it all, or have it all on hand, doesn't mean that stuff like this isn't going to happen. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. I'm sorry for the kind of spiel there at the end. My main goal is to try to educate and show people tools and options, especially from my own experience, the carcass of my vending days. So many people have said to clean my room. It's happening, and I will be every other day cleaning up this backside, like the huge piles in front of the boxes, and then we're gonna get to the streams end of month, end of August, but no, end of July, we're gonna start regular streams getting through the bulk mines, and I wish the bulk market would recover, but that's its own beast. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoy these more in-depth conversations, though, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, the meta is moving a lot, with a lot of people crying they're quitting, but those prices are still going up.